everyone. We are the reporters for today's lesson. We are Group 4 on the mem, and let me introduce my group and myself. My name is Kenny J. Alfante, Bernarde, Bernande J. Ashley R. Dingkong Ivan Allen. Objectives. First things first. In today's lessons, we are targeting for the viewers to have a brief knowledge as we present our topics, and also to provide sufficient data to accumulate their pending questions, and also to finally conclude the, that the students must understand the topics for today's lesson. Without and without further ado, let's continue to our lesson. Gestalt. The whole is more than the sum of its parts. Gestalt. Gestalt is a German word that roughly means configuration, or the way things are put together to form a whole object. One cannot understand something to understand a whole thing as a whole. For example, we're given the components of a motor. They, they would have no value unless they were put together to create a car. A central principle of Gestalt psychology is to emphasize our tendency to integrate pieces of information into meaningful words. When trying to make sense of the world around us, Gestalt theory suggests that we do not simply focus on everything small components. Instead, our minds tend to perceive objects as part of a greater whole, as an element of a more complex system. Phenomenological and humanism. The person is a total person and cannot be reduced into parts. Number two, the humanistic perspective arose in the mid 20th century in answer to two theories: Simon Freud's psychoanalysis theory, the B.F. Skinner's behaviorism. Thus, it was referred to as the third force of psychology. Its foundation includes philosophical humanism, existentialism, and phenomenology. This branch of psychology relates to the idea of being entirely unique, and suggests a way of evaluating an individual as a whole, rather than looking at them only through a smaller aspects of their person. It emphasizes personal worth of individual, the centrality of human values, and the creative nature of human beings. Psychoanalysis, defined as a set of psychological theories and therapeutic methods which have their origin in the work of Simon Freud. The primary assumptions of psychoanalysis is the belief that all people possess unconscious thoughts, feelings, desires, and memories. According to this theory, there are three structures of personality, named personality, known as ego, id, and superego. Now, id results completely at the unconscious level act under pleasure principle, while ego resides in all levels of awareness and it operates under reality principle. Ego attempts to negotiate between id and superego to satisfy both realistically. And Lastly, superego is the morality and idealistic part of personality. It resides in pre-conscious that operates in the idea principle. William James. William James was an original thinker in the between disciplines of psychology and sociological, and philosophy. James is considered to be the leading thinker of the late 19th century, one of the most influential philosophers of the United States, and the father of American psychology. The I self and the me self. This distinction has recently regained popularity in cognitive science, especially in the context of experimental studies and the underpinnings of the phenomenal self. The I self res- reflects what people see or perceive themselves doing in the physical world, or meaning to recognize someone, like eating, writing, or just by walking down the street. Anything you see a person doing something in the physical world, it technically means it's the I self. Where while whereas the me self is more subjective and sociological phenomenon referring to the individual's reflection about themselves. In other terms, such as self-view, self-image, self-schema, and self-concept, are also used to describe the self-referent thoughts characteristics of the me self, meaning it is based on emotions and what you think about someone and what they think about you. For example, look, that guy's handsome, that girl's beautiful. Anything you describe someone is the me self, and also anything you describe yourself is the me self.
Good day everyone, my name is Ivan Dingkong. So I am here to discuss about multiple selves and unified self. So let's start. Multiple selves means varies across different interpersonal and intrapersonal roles and relationships. The attitude and characteristic we show depends on who are the people we are interacting with. So having multiple personality makes it hard for a person to achieve and unified self. So multiple selves also, and individuals were originally thought to have only one self-image, and multiple selves also can be thought of as having different components or role identities. And some identities are more central than the others. For example, husband, boss, mother, and student. So multiple selves are also a disorder. It is called dissociative identity disorder, or DID. So what is DID? So DID is a severe form of dissociation, a mental process which produces a lack of connection in a person's thoughts, memories, feelings, actions, or sense of identity. And dissociative identity disorder is thought to stem from a combination of factors that may include trauma, mechanism, and such of dissociates themselves from a situation or experience that's too violent or traumatic or painful, and painful to assimilate with their conscious self. And also, multiple self is good for our is good for ourselves because researchers suggest that having multiple role or identities give us a sense of meaning and reduces marital stress and helps combat feelings of social isolation. So, multiple selves means that we don't only have a one persona or personalities or identities. So that's it for multiple selves, and let's go for the unified self. So sorry, I have a example for multiple selves. Think about if you answered your phone with a business-like voice and it was your best friend. However, she didn't even recognize you until you identify yourself because of the difference between your business-like persona and your friend persona. This, however, is not the same as dissociative identity disorder, in that individual does not lose track of his own identity or personality. It just simply involves the modifications of reactions and interaction patterns with the world. So, just like that, multiple. So, let's move to the next one. So, unified self. Unified self means referring to the composite persona or the self that contains all of other personas that exist within a person. So, also, unified self is unified by consciousness, and consciousness is unified by connection between mental states and memory. So, as we all know, unified means one or whole. Unified self is the personality that stays within us, and the self we usually only show to people we trust and whenever we are alone. And it is important for a person to have a consistent and coherent self that they show to others, especially to the people that are really close to them. So, it's very understandable for unified self. And so, for example, for unified self, example, you have a problem with your study and you don't want anyone to know what you are going through, so you or yourself just facing the situation or the problem without anyone knowing. So that's it for, and the next topic is the self as proactive and agentic. So the self as proactive means proactive behavior refers to self-initiated behavior that endeavors to solve a problem before it has occurred. And proactive behavior involves acting in advance of or for a future situations rather than reacting. So self-proactive means you are aware or you have a plan to do with that situation. And also, self as proactive, controlling a situation by making things happen or by preparing for possible future problems. And self-reactiveness involves making choices and choosing appropriate courses of action, as well as motivating and regulating them. So, for example, you have to study. I choose this course, and I must do my obligations to study and pass and learn from my subjects, and you must be reactive towards the things and circumstances that will happen and will happen. So let's move to agentic. The agentic is self-defined as the aspect of human personality that is determined by future assessments of one's goal, objectives, and actions. So, agentic self-functions are adversely affected by degenerating, planning, selecting, and implementing the capabilities of an individual. And also, agentics is a social cognition theory of Albert Bandura that views people as self-proactive or self-reflective and self-regulating as time changes. And the capacity of human being to make choices in the world. So there are two types of agentic, and the first one is agentic perspective. So agentic perspective means that state that we are not merely reactive organisms shaped by environmental forces or driven by inner impulses. And number two, agentic self. Agentic self is seeing the world as agents of change, and we have a choice over our actions, and we strive to enable others to make informed, responsible decisions. So that's it for agentic, and I have an example situation. When a person is deciding, that person has his options, and with each options he had to anticipate outcomes in order to know what is her planning to do, and in order for that person to decide depending on what might come out after. So it means that agentics means that an individual power to control his or her own goals, actions, and destiny. It means that you yourself must do the work or do the actions for what you are facing of any situation or any problems in your life. So that's it, guys. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, my name is Bernabe Jasliar. Today I will report and explain real self versus ideal self and true self versus false self. So, real self. The real self is the place where you currently find yourself in your life. It is who currently are the ideal self. The ideal self is the best version of yourself. First, real self. Real self, let's put your simple, not art, not such as they do, a happy and simple way. In the real self, you simply don't have a lot of oil be happy anywhere. In the real self, you are simply don't have a lot of oil be happy anywhere. And next, ideal self. Ideal self, current self, utilized potential. Real self is just natural self. Ideal self is more like what you want to look like beside your real self. So ideal self, it is a part of the self that is highly prized by the individual. Thus, the ideal self is considered to be a motivator within a person self-concept. So ideal self, do you like that? Do you want to be a seaman and I want to play a basketball? The ideal self is the person you want to be. This person has attributes or qualities you are either working toward or one. And the ideal self is the person you want to be. A person as attributes or qualities you are either working toward or what. Ideal self might be someone who excels in science subjects, spend of a time studying, and does not get queasy at the sight of lot of your real self. So next, true self versus false self. True self is true self are the things that will generate about you more about about what who you are, whether activities you do and achieve at the end are the reflection of the choice you want to become. This can happen to you early or later in life, and the methods of getting there. So first first true self. True self, a person might work hard their job and also spend with family. They might believe that their job is just something they, they do, but the importance they place or family relationship is part of their true self. So, for one, the belief in true self affects people's judgment about what action give life meaning. In true self, he will treat you with respect. True self, for example, if I believe that I am punctual person, the punctuality is part of my actual self. Is similarly in my colleges describe me. So next, false self. The false self. The false self is an artificial persona that people create very early in life protect protect themselves from experiencing developmental trauma, shocks, and truths in close relationship meanings are delusionary self-creation. Process starts early in our childhood of the false self because it's cheap and validity because of you always ahead of the false self because you are just made because you are always ahead of your older brother. False self footing on a facade with others may result in an internal sensation of being depleted, drained, or emotionally non-possible tendencies. So that's all.
Oh, we are done with our lesson. Now, it's not much told, but in the rubrics, there are no said to have to provide a conclusion. But as we provide data, we always provide conclusion to summarize our topics. It all are connected to each other. For each topic were based on one's physical state and mental state. All must know that physical state is not always active, but for the mental state, it is active 24/7. If we are sleeping, our conscious is still active for all of us to have a tendency to have a dream. To broaden up your knowledge, studies were conducted upon death. That, that upon death, consciousness is still active. If you are still here in the end of the video, I thank you for staying with us throughout this lesson. Hope you have understood the lesson. Thank you. We are Group 4. In and out. Peace.